Story time.
Welcome to the show, everybody. The Sean's Old School Movie Podcast. And I got to say, we were sitting outside a few minutes ago. We were talking about it was Sean's birthday yesterday. So we're talking about Sean's 21st birthday fiesta back on August 25th of the year 2000. Once we got through all our Y2K troubles, we celebrated Sean's 21st birthday. And generally, we were just talking about stupid shit that we've done over the course of our lifetime, and you and I have done a fair amount of stupid things.
Stupid shit.
Um,
I'm sorry, but I just as we were outside, I'm sorry. I gotta say my absolute favorite thing of our stupid shit was, I gotta say, sitting at the end of the pier and just this huge thunderstorm was rolling in. You got a phone call from your mom all about, like, there's severe thunderstorm coming. Oh my God, where are you?
You guys need to take shelter. Where are you guys? We're out at the end of the pier. You guys need to get in now.
Oh yeah, we're leaving right now,
on our way, Mom. And then she calls back 5 minutes later, and I answer the phone, and all I get is, "Get off the pier," like, 'cause she knew. And you and I love thunderstorms. And we've studied them and everything, and we knew that we were in trouble. Like, we knew that we'd stayed longer than we should have out there.
Wasn't that the one where lightning struck the pier once we, like,
that was the one where we had to crawl off the pier on our hands and knees because the wind was too strong.
The wind was so freaking strong.
And then right when we got over to the huts, lightning struck the end of the pier where we were. And then that was the night where everybody looked to us and they're like, "There's not going to be a tornado, right?" And you and I kind of look at each other and look at the clouds, and it's like,
hey, well, the night's young, you know.
I mean, there's also that time you lit your face on fire, but like, anyway, moral of the overall story is you and I have done some pretty stupid things.
Right.
But you know who else does really stupid things?
I am going to say people in movies.
People in movies
do really stupid
things. They really, really do. Some of it's kind of stereotypical to genres.
Right.
Like, you watch a certain type of movie and you sort of know what's going to happen already.
Right. There to me is always like a borderline of like, I mean, there has to be stupid things that are done in movies because, like, I mean, if everything was done by the book, there'd be no movie.
Exactly.
There has to be something to drag out the film for so long, but, yeah, I mean, some of it is just ridiculous, or at least borderline ridiculous. And
so, I mean, I think the first and obvious one to bring up is horror movies.
Horror movies. Big time.
What is the first thing that ever happens in a horror movie?
That's
bunch of people in a house or at a campsite or wherever. Bunch of people together, usually teenagers-ish, usually end of summer, maybe beginning of summer prom.
Right.
Everybody having a few drinks. Everyone's thinking they're going to get some. And then all of a sudden there's a killer on the loose. So what is the first thing we need to do, Sean? We need to split up.
Right. And go different places.
Because there's one man with a knife. 10 of us in a room together. Who could probably defend ourselves against. Because keep in mind that half of these people, half of those 5 are going to be on the high school football team. No, one of them is going to be a nerd.
Yeah, there has to be nerd.
Right.
There has to be comedy relief.
But basically, some of them are going to be the high school quarterback.
You
think a couple high school quarterbacks in a room would be able to fend off an attacker.
You would think.
But we got to split up first.
Right. And, well, see, to me, the big one that I think of is sure throughout the film and so forth. But once whoever the last 2 survivors are, the one last lone survivor, I'm sorry, but if I looked around and I was like, wow, where did everybody go? Oh, what's this bloody weapon doing here? And why does this look awkward? I'm sorry, I would be out of there so fast. I I wouldn't look back. You know what? Fuck you. I can't find my friends. Sorry, guys, you're taking one for the team. Like, I'm a nice guy and I'd stick around to help, but I'm sorry. No, if bloody weapons started showing up, I don't think I'd be wandering around like looking for everybody. I'd just be out of there.
Or like
chance I got.
let's figure out the mystery of the killer. Like let's figure out who he is and why he's doing what he's doing.
And why he's doing what he's doing. Some of my other favorite things are that stupid people really friggin' do in films is when they know that it's just maybe them and the killer or whatever, and they walk into a room and they're like, hello? Hello? Is anybody here? Like, you expect the killer to be like, yeah, hi, I'm in the kitchen making sandwiches.
Yeah.
Do you want mustard on yours?
I
No!
thought you'd want some cocoa.
Yeah, do you want some cocoa? Who yells out
good
for
comfort
whatever?
after you just lost all your friends.
Right, or if you know you're being stalked by some killer, well, why don't you just say, hey, I'm here in the living room. Yep, come kill me. What are you making noise for?
Well, and that's the other thing. It's like I got out of the house, but now I'm going to go back in for some reason.
Now I'm going to go back in. I ran for miles. I'm not scared anymore. I'm going to go back and see what's going on.
It's interesting too because there's always going to be that first person who gets killed, and it's always going to be the person who wanders off. And as sure as it's going to be a guy in a red shirt in the original Star Trek, it's going to be the African American male.
Right. Sometimes
he is going to be killed first.
Sometimes there's that, or there is the comedy relief. Because we're talking about if we're talking on the basis of horror films, we want to be scared, so you don't want to keep comedy relief in there too much. Mm-hmm. Get some comedy in there to maybe lighten the mood a little bit. But anything after that, once he's gone, like, it's just fair game. It's scares and like
he's the guy who's cracking all the jokes on the way up there in what I'm assuming is the SUV that they're all taking up to the cabin for the weekend.
Right.
And he's the one where everyone kind of rolls their eyes when he says something because he's funny, but he's kind of annoying. Why is he here? But he's gonna get killed.
But he's gonna get killed. So, kind of what we got for this here is as you can see our whatever you can see maybe of our nice little display setup here. I'm gonna come around to the front here, see if I can grab without knocking anything over. These two films here, we have Halloween and we have Scream, which were good movies for setting rules for, say, kind of stupid things that happen in movies. Halloween, from where I stand, kind of set the rules. This was more the rule setter. It kind of came out before Friday the 13th, but this had your basic things like what we've been talking about like what Mike mentioned about like your comedy relief guy. Your football jock is in there. You're a couple that has sex throughout the film and so forth. And this movie was kind of the first one that depicted the kind of things of people taking off by themselves. You know what? I'm going to go get beer by myself. Oh, look. Oh, there's the killer. Oh, I'm now nailed up against a wall with a big knife. Kind of stuff like that. This set the rules for things that happen in stupid movies. Scream, however, did not set rules for the movies, but more or less yet poked fun at those things. This was a really well written movie for bringing back teenage horror films. If we're on the same page for reading minds here, probably the best one that I remember out of this was when Nev Campbell was on the phone with the killer, and the killer says like, "So what's your favorite scary movie?" And she says like, "Oh, come on, I don't watch that shit. It's all about some big-breasted bimbo who should be running out the front door when she's running up the stairs." Mm-hmm. Instead. And lo and behold, what happens? But the killer pops out, and what does she do? Runs up the stairs to her bedroom. So we see things nicely depicted that are made fun of in Scream. Poor Wes Craven, rest his soul.
And Scream was good too because it did sort of parody horror movies while being a horror movie of its own. I mean, it didn't parody horror movies like Scary Movie did,
No.
but it did parody them.
Poked fun at, I
Yeah,
kind of like to say, but also at the same time paid homage to things. So if we can see, or anybody that has seen Scream, we see Drew Barrymore here on the front, and I'm sorry, spoiler alert, but I'm sure there's not a lot of people out there who have not seen Scream or anything like that. But Scream kind of pays homage in one movie to Psycho, and we see Drew Barrymore first victim
Mm.
out of the movie right at the very start, and you're thinking, what the fuck? That's Drew Barrymore. And Drew Barrymore
She's
doesn't
the
die
star.
in movies.
Yeah.
So kind of great things like that, and of course we see things like again, what should you not do? Like, first off, one, like, she stays on the phone with the guy. I'm sorry, but if things started getting creepy on the phone, hang up the phone, unplug your phone, call the fucking cops. Really?
Leave the house.
Leave the house. Okay? Like, there are so many stupid things right off the bat that we see in these films. Now, I'm going to say we haven't done things like that probably at some due point in time. I mean, I know that probably at some due point in time, running away for whatever reason, we've done the splitting up thing because nobody will find us.
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing, right? The cops can't chase two people if they go in different directions.
I was trying to avoid using cops.
I was just going to say, 2 cops, 10 people, 80 is getting away if you all scatter.
Right.
But, I mean, the stupid things that we've done generally don't fall into, like, horror movie category. They fall more into lame high school comedy.
Lame high school
I wanna
comedy. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. We're certainly not like super hardcore action movie stars or anything like that. But like there are other things. So like, let's say getting into like action movies, or say like sci-fi movies, if we're gonna veer off the horror concept.
So, action movies.
There's a lot.
Okay, so this isn't so much like a stupid thing that someone does in an action movie, but some of like the stupidly predictable things. Remember the other day when we were talking about the new movie that's coming out, The Meg, with
Oh God, Statham.
with Jason Statham, and we were trying to figure out kind of what the movie would be like. Is it going to be like a remake of Jaws type thing? And I said, well, because it's Jason Statham, that he's going to be some sort of retired cop or ex-military with all this special training.
Right.
And he's going to be saving either his wife or his daughter or his ex-wife. And it's going to be a situation that he doesn't want to be in, but somehow is. And then we went online and read up on it. And sure enough, Jason Statham is retired ex-military who basically becomes like a marine biologist after he sees this giant shark that kills his platoon. And then somehow his ex-wife and kid get trapped in a submarine at the bottom of the ocean with this shark trying to eat them, and he has to go rescue them using the skills that the military teaches you in giant shark defense courses.
Right.
Because I've got 2 uncles that were in the military, and I'm pretty sure giant sharks defense courses were not around. But anyway,
like, okay, I'm not gonna lie.
But like for an action movie, it's like a lot of it's predictable.
Right.
Stupidly predictable. And in that, it is. If it's Jason Statham or it's Steven Seagal, he's some sort of retired ex-military that somehow gets forced back into action.
This is kind of, I haven't seen this myself, and I was going to go on the whole thrill that, like, if I was going to be forced to see this movie, it's going to be because somebody else bought it and I borrowed it from them. My son went to go see the Meg, though. And so sticking with concept, and this is a thing that generally tends to happen in a lot of shark movies. I guess there's a scene where Statham jumps into the water and, I don't know, deep sea dives or something. I'm sorry. There's a giant fucking shark in the water. You know, I'm just gonna strap my wetsuit on. I'm just gonna jump in the water. I'm Jason Statham. I can swim faster than the shark.
And that's why. Because
And
he's Jason Statham.
and this is other things that have come about in other recent shark movies that I've watched. Which another one to me, which was really disappointing, was The Shallows. With Liv Tyler, and there's a scene where like she's stuck out in the middle of the ocean on this rock. There's great white sharks circling her, and she's wounded. And somehow she feels that I can jump in the water and swim from one spot to the other before the great white shark circles back around and comes and attacks me. I'm sorry. What would make you want to do that in the first place? Not to mention the fact I'm pretty sure sharks swim faster than people. But apparently she swims faster than the shark. And makes it to where she needs to be. 47 meters down was another one, which was terrible. And these two girls are trapped at the bottom of the ocean in a cage, and there's a shark. And one of them was all like, "Oh, I can leave the cage and I can swim to the surface and I can flash somebody for help." I'm sorry, what made you think you were going to get to the surface before,
The
the shark was going to come? I mean, I'm not saying, again, if you did everything by the book, this movie would have been about 15 minutes long. I sank to the bottom, oh, I'm dead. Sure, you have to try stuff, but I don't think anybody in their right mind would leave the confines of the cage to
try to swim away.
Away.
And that's your typical shark movie. When you get into your not typical shark movies, like what do you do when the sharks are in tornadoes?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they're making a sixth one.
Yeah.
I think it's the sixth one.
This is supposed to be the last one.
Well, it's actually called, I think, Sharknado 6, the last one. It's about time.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Something ridiculous like that.
I've never seen a Sharknado movie, but I'm 90% sure if I saw the first one, I could tell you what happens in the other 5.
Yeah. They're not
Same thing. I didn't need to watch all 18 Fast and the Furious movies to know that they drive quite fast and quite furiously.
And do insane, crazy stunts that they seem to manage to live through.
Too soon?
No.
Anyway.
Quite frankly, I was kind of thinking the same thing.
Yeah, but that wasn't in the movie.
No, that's true. That was not in the movie. But one of the big things that kind of pisses me off as well, sticking with action films and stupid things that people do in films. Face Off, ladies and gentlemen.
Sean's favorite movie.
Now,
starring Sean's favorite actor,
whoa,
Nicolas Cage.
No. Okay, I never said I had. Okay, well, I got a few problems with Face Off.
On one of our first podcasts, you started the podcast with a 15-minute rant about everything wrong with Face Off.
That's true, I did. Which anybody that might kind of remember that, I'm kind of going to go through the same thing again now. The idea for this movie is totally awesome. I won't deny that in any way, shape, or form. And there's good chemistry in this film with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, and this story is pretty kind of crazy out there. But one of the big things that this movie depicts that really pisses me off, and this is one of the big things that stupid people always do in action movies, whether it be the good guy or whether it be the bad guy, is you have the guy that you want right there at gunpoint. You got a gun right to his head. You know what? Blow this fucking guy's brains all over the goddamn wall. No. I'm going to talk to him for like 5-10 friggin' minutes. If we take the concept of Face Off, I'm sorry, but Mr. Bad Guy killed your kid, tried to kill you, has been living in your house, sleeping with your wife, and living with your kid. I'm sorry. Do you need another reason to put a bullet in this guy's head? But no! Multiple times throughout the film. We gotta keep him alive. Oh, I have you at gunpoint. No, we're gonna exchange witty banter for 5, 10 fucking
And then
minutes,
I'm
and then
gonna-
go into some other
And then I'm going to
insane,
tell you all about my plans.
all about my plans.
Question though,
But
is it cheating on your wife if it's still the original guy's dick?
ooh,
Right, like because
Ooh.
it was John Travolta sleeping with Nicolas Cage's wife, correct?
no.
No,
Cage was sleeping with Travolta's wife.
right, but
Travolta started.
But it
out
was
as-
Travolta. It was Travolta and Cage's. Wait.
Yeah,
Damn
okay.
it.
So
this is why this
Travolta,
movie messed me
Travolta
up.
starts out as FBI agent. Cage starts out as terrorist.
Right.
So
Oh wait, but they
Travolta-
just swapped the faces.
they just
didn't they?
swapped faces. That was
So
it.
would his wife not be able to be like, "Hey, this wiener is different than the one that I've been playing with for the last 15 years. Where'd you get that birthmark? Where'd the other one go? Hey,
Well,
where'd you
okay.
get that tattoo on your ass?"
Okay, but this is where Face Off started out as kind of clever. So the whole concept of swapping the faces, that was just one part, but still got to make you look like the other guy as well. I'm gonna have to, like they say to Travolta, we're gonna have to get rid of some of these love handles. So we're gonna do like an abdominoplasty, and we're gonna suck out this, and then if you had a birthmark, we can remove that. We have to make you look like Castor Troy to a T from top to bottom, because they also go through the concept of changing his voice. He has to be able to
Right.
sound like him when he speaks like him, and so forth.
So I'm just going to assume they changed the penis.
How
How would they have a picture of the other guy's penis? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to poke holes in your theory here.
No,
But for some reason, I'm curious about this now.
Well, because we're making an action movie, we're not making an erotic thriller, so that's why nothing like the concept of penises came in, which is why. But
Okay, valid
again-
point, correct? Valid point.
Again, though, this does kind of go with the stupid shit, in the movie, and this is either really bad writing or this is just again stupid shit people do in movies, but. At some due point in time when Travolta and Cage meet face to face, and they've swapped faces and everything, like Nicolas Cage makes this reference of like, oh yeah, I do enjoy boning your wife like every night, Well, yeah. But no, to prove that, you're the guy living with you is Mr. Terrorist, she takes a blood sample. That's all the things that you think of was like, maybe to see, like, if this guy is just like, while he's sleeping, pinprick him, because that's not going to wake him up, and take a blood sample. You didn't think of anything else on an outside possibility.
Any other
Yeah,
fluids
like penises.
that you could, or any other fluids you could analyze if
Fluid.
he's banging you every night? Like,
I'm sorry, but like, again, that falls into just ridiculous, stupid kinds of things, and I mean, I'm sure at the time, like say maybe back with like older films, like if you go back into the 70s, maybe even 60s, when like some action movies were there and spy films were there, or say whatever, when you bumped into the bad guy, sure, we created tension back then by them talking to one another. But no, still trying to employ that today, that's just stupid. That's just, I'm sorry, but like, you have the guy, just kill him. And again, we all know this. And I guess
well, and the prime example of that whole entire thing is Bond.
sure.
Every time the
there's-
villain gets Bond, he puts him in some sort of elaborate thing to kill him, tells him his plan, and then just walks away. Like, don't even stand there to watch that
to
he dies.
watch that he's going to die.
Like, if you hate this guy so much that you're willing to spend this money and this time designing, because I'm assuming that you have to have a team of people that you're employing and paying who are coming up with this clever design of the table with the laser beam coming through to cut
Right.
Bond in half or whatever. Then you got to get someone to build it. You got to have
Yeah.
some metal workers. You got to have some scientists who can make lasers.
Right.
And all of this stuff to get him in this trap to make sure he suffers and dies, but you don't want to stand there and watch him die?
Yeah.
Like, it seems a little anticlimactic, doesn't it?
A little
Like,
bit.
if I hated somebody enough to want them dead, like that I was going to kill them, I would kill them.
And that's
I
why
wouldn't just set up like some sort of like, board game mousetrap, whatever. I know there's a technical name for those kind of devices, but I'm
Yeah.
blanking on it and I don't want to get it really wrong.
um
But like, you set up one of those crazy intricate things to kill them and then just walk away and
Yeah.
not not see that it works?
Right.
Like, wouldn't you want to watch it work? Because it would be really.
I would love to watch it.
I
I would
don't
love
know.
to see the decimation of my enemy. You know? Yeah.
I don't know.
But
Maybe we're just more sadistic than.
this
Bond
is
villains.
it's also good though, because this is like, I mean, to me this is what we see as the evolution of film. And I mean, there are filmmakers out there that say maybe sometimes just want to make a quick buck. Maybe there's no really way I can find around this, but if you're clever enough, if you have good writers, like, again, let's take something like Last Action Hero. Not exactly the greatest film, but there is a point in there when the kid finally gets to school at the start of the film and he's watching this movie clip, and this guy's gonna kill somebody, but before he does it, he has to give this little speech in the film. And the kid sits there in the class and he's just like, just do it. Kill him. Just kill him. Just do it. And I'm sorry, but if anybody out there can sit there and say that you've never screamed at your TV set for somebody to not go in the woods, not go somewhere by themselves, not say, I'll be right back. Oh my God! Quick, pull out your gun and shoot him! No, the shark's right there! I'm sorry, but if you can say you've never done that, I mean, friggin' kudos to you. I think those kinds of things are thrown in there, though, for that sole purpose. Because you want to get the audience drawn in.
True.
Granted, there are better
Some of
ways to do it than going all the way back into the 70s out of the same.
And I'm sure some of it's just bad writing.
Oh, believe me, some of it's very bad.
And I think some of it too is just cliches.
Very
Like,
bad
well,
writing.
this is the way that it works. The bad guy makes the speech.
Right. As you said, right. So, like, if we get into people say like making speeches and so forth, Friday the 13th was kind of like a kind of a prime for that. Kind of the Halloween and Friday the 13th were kind of primes for that. And one of the first kind of rules that we see in either one of those films is nobody listens to the warnings. That's the first stupid thing people do if we're going to go back to horror movies. I'd say people do in horror movies. Nobody listens to the warning. There's always that old man or that psychiatrist that knows the patient. And nobody!
That marine biologist who saw the shark in the water. Like, there's always... You're right, there is. And people don't listen to the warnings.
People don't listen to the warnings.
Or it's like the whole... Yeah, we're going to take our end-of-the-year trip to whatever cabin. Oh, is that the cabin where those teens were murdered 20 years ago today on the exact same full moon that we had now?
Now?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Oh, cool. I'll bring the marshmallows.
Okay, I'm not going to say I haven't done fucking stupid shit like that. Stupid shit like...
Like going to a house where people were murdered 20 years ago tonight? Where the hell did you go?
Maybe not 20 years, but I won't lie. I've actually stood in front of the Black Donnelly house like at 1 in the fucking morning.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. That shit is fucking creepy.
Creepier than that haunted house or that abandoned house we broke into outside of Tiverton?
Yeah, actually, it is kind of creepier.
The one where we went almost to the floor?
I'm not gonna lie, falling through the floor
that was pretty scary.
That was not to mention stupid, because we knew the floor was fucking deteriorating.
Well, we didn't know, but
I'm pretty sure before I fell through the floor, I sat there and I said, "Hey, watch where you step because the floor is kind of weak." Wah! Bam! And I crotched myself.
I lost a pack of smokes in the snow.
You did.
And
No, it wasn't snow.
Yeah, it was snow. It was winter when we went there, and I lost a pack of smokes in the snow running back to the car, but it was still wrapped. And then when we were driving by there, like 6 months later, I'm like, hey, pull in here for a second. I want to check something out. And I forget who I was with, but we pulled in. And sure enough, there's my pack of smokes just sitting in the middle of the driveway from where the snow had all melted. It's an abandoned house, so no one's gone up there.
Yeah, no one's gone up there.
Smoke's still sealed. Picked them up, unwrapped them, saved myself like a solid $6.50.
$6,
I think they were worth at the time.
At least. That's funny. That shows you how far back that goes.
Yeah, that was really my only experience with a haunted house, aside from the one that was here in town. Where Adam hung the dead wreck.
That was the other one up on Russell Street.
On Russell Street.
Street.
Those are the only two haunted
I would
houses
also
I've
like to
experienced
point
with.
out that like this conversation came about because we were discussing that nobody listens to the warnings of the old
Mhm.
people. Did you just make a reference that I'm old people because
I didn't listen to your warning with the floor.
about the floor? Even though I was the one that fell through the floor and should have listened to myself, I'm pretty certain that was kind of like a year old reference. And
I don't think you were old at the time. I mean, well, old compared to me.
I,
You always will be, but like at the time, you weren't a grumpy old man yet.
no, I was certainly not a crusty old curmudgeon. But yeah, like getting back to these films, like if you go back to Halloween, like I think through the whole entire fucking 10 movies of Halloween, Dr. Loomis is running around. I was his doctor. I listened to him for 15 years. Ah, Doc, you're just talking nonsense. Really? Because people seem to be turning up dying.
What?
Everywhere.
It's the
and
same. It's the same sort of thing in like
nobody listens.
in like a monster movie. Like Godzilla is a perfect example of that. There's always one person who knows how to kill him,
Right.
but the military guys won't listen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like no,
They're
I've
military.
discovered how to kill him, or I've discovered how to do this, and it's just like, get out of here, weird scientist guy.
Yeah.
We're the army.
Or like before you
what was
fire that
Okay.
giant bomb, that bomb's not going to hurt him. Oh yeah, it will. It's a bomb.
What was that? Okay, so there was a movie, and it's one of my. It's under the radar. Like a lot of people haven't heard of it. Hardly anyone's watched it, but I own it. It's a great movie, and it's like the perfect example of that. It's basically a sci-fi comedy thing, and it's called Evolution
Right.
with David Duchovny and
David
Sean William
Duchovny.
Scott.
God, that
And
goes back.
so the asteroid crash lands, and basically there's bacteria, but it starts to evolve at an incredible rate. So after a couple of days, there's plants and insects and little things like that. So these two local university professors are trying to study it, but then the military comes in and kind of takes it over. And anyway, the aliens start to evolve, and it kind of gets out of control. So the military plans to nuke it, but these two professors, one of them being retired military, but
Right.
disgracefully discharged or dishonorably discharged, they figure out that heat makes these things evolve faster, and that the army's about to drop bombs on it, like a nuclear weapon. And they go to tell the army about it, and then the military guys are just like, "No, you guys are stupid. Get out of here."
Right.
And it's like, but these guys literally have on their laptop the proof that you need. All you need to do is look for
Right.
10 seconds.
Please
No,
look at my fucking laptop.
we're not going to do that. We're just going to bomb the alien anyway. And then they do, and then the alien becomes like this giant blobby thing. And then that's when the scientists, those professors, discover that an ingredient in Head and Shoulders will kill it, and they fill a fire truck full of Head and Shoulders, and then they go and spray
Right.
it up the anus. It's a great movie. I mean, I
up the
highly.
anus with the giant paws.
You ever want to see
That's
Sean
just-
William Scott dressed as a firefighter shooting Head and Shoulders into a giant alien's anal cavity?
Right.
It is definitely probably the number one movie for that.
He seems to have like a anal kind of concept thing in a lot of his movies. Wasn't it him that really liked the getting off through the finger ejaculation in the anus and
That was in Road Trip.
Road Trip? Right.
Milking the Prostate. I think
Milking
was what that was called.
Stupid shit that people do in fucking movies that is not necessarily needed is getting your prostate milked. Sorry.
Oh, so
That was-
okay,
that
so
was-
talking about that movie and stupid thing people do, blah blah blah.
You know
That
what?
brings us to sort of a whole other.
Right. I was
genre
just
here.
gonna say Road Trip is a prime example.
Okay, well,
because
so that's a whole other genre. So we've covered horror, we've covered
Right.
some action. So we've got that other so we'll move into stupid things people do in comedies and stuff. But we're gonna do that right after this commercial break. All right, so
welcome back, everybody. After short little commercial break, So before we left, went to commercial, we got into getting ready to talk about stupid things that say,
Larry King is still alive.
wow.
He's 84.
What?
84 years old.
84?
Holy shit, he's been married a lot.
Probably.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wives.
That's a lot of fucking
He's
wives.
still married to the last one. Been married to the last one for 21 years.
That's some fucked up shit.
Married for 1 year, married for less than a year, married for 2 years, married for 4 years, married for 5 years, married for 17 years, married for 3 years, and now married for 21. But he's still alive. Sorry, we were having a debate during the commercial break whether Larry King was still alive or not.
I was apparently wrong.
Well, I hadn't heard that he died, but I wouldn't have been
really
shocked or surprised.
I just assumed he was dead. So as I was saying, we spent the first little while talking about just ridiculous, stupid shit that people do in movies or that happen in movies. And before we left, we were going to get into the subject of a little bit more reality kinds of things. And as Mike brought up, the film Road Trip, as we were discussing prostate milking. Yeah, which was what brought.
Which all started with Sean William Scott blowing head and shoulders up an alien's ass. Anyway, right. So Road Trip. Road Trip's a great thing because, like, it is a great example of a movie. Everyone's been on a road trip.
Everybody's been on a road trip, and I'm certain to the extent that everybody has done something stupid on a road trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. This road trip is a prime example. It's a prime example of everything, from even getting the road trip to happen and things leading up to the road trip, of just stupid shit that people do and everything like that. A little bit more relatable, as we said at the start of this. When it comes to movies, there's just fucking ridiculous things people do. Shut up, phone. There are just stupid things people do in movies, and then there's stupid, but like a little bit more on a relatable level. That's not like you're questioning why people are doing this. You can relate to it a little bit more, and something like Road Trip, Euro Trip might be a little bit borderline. There's a little bit borderline ultra stupidity hitting Euro Trip. Road Trip a little bit more.
Road Trip didn't have a whole lot of like insanely stupid things in it. I mean, the car exploding was a little out there.
That's a little borderline, but you can't be making, like, at the same time you haven't come to a situation where you're like, well, I think we can do that. I think we can make that jump. Sure, you might come to the decision that, no, you know what, we're not going to do it. We're going to back up. We're going to take the long way around. But
well, I mean, with the whole, I think we can do it, and the car breaking down thing. I remember being in the car with Pat years ago in his red Corolla, and he decided we were going to drive on the old railroad tracks from here to Port Elgin, which has since been turned into a hiking trail. But at the time, it was just basically a somewhat gravel path through the trees.
Right.
And because it was so bumpy, we had to drive really slow, which was at high RPMs, which was causing his car to overheat. And basically every 30 feet, we would have to get out of the car and fill up water bottles with puddle water from the ditches and pour it into his radiator just to get the car another 30 feet down the road.
Just to get the car 30 feet down the...
I mean, we made it to Port Elgin, but it took us like 3 hours to get there instead of the normal 25 minutes. So, I mean, it wasn't a shortcut, per se.
Right.
But it was interesting.
Yeah, I've
car didn't explode, though.
No. I've done my fair share of stupid things alone on road trips as well.
Really? You yelling out the window at that girl?
That's not my fault. That was her fault.
It was her fault.
She was there as a unsuspecting victim of
first thing we get into Toronto, and the first thing you do is scream, "Oh, what a shame! All that jelly and no toast."
I'm sorry. Was that as good as like the head banging in the car to people that we pulled up beside? And
no, it was you doing the whole dance thing to the final countdown.
Oh yeah, right. There was.
I think that was in Robbie's car.
That might have been
coming
Robbie's
back
car.
to Port Elgin. You
right.
had this whole dance routine down in the back seat of the car.
I'm sorry, man. Good song.
It's a good song.
It was a good song. But Road Trip, things like Road Trip, even if we want to stick with the same director, Todd Phillips, and Todd Phillips has like great ideas. Road Trip being one, The Hangover being the other. This also fits on a little bit more reality basis of, say, stupid people doing stupid things where they go up on the rooftop, they make the toast, and of course, the stupid guy out of the bunch has slipped roofies into their drinks before then. Then of course there's a total blackout, and
I mean, and the Hangover was great because it was funny, and it was relatable, and everybody's, well, most people have had that party where you wake up the next morning and you're not quite 100% sure what happened.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm assuming
if you get roofied, you remember much less than what you normally would.
Like stealing Mike Tyson's tiger. Like, what the fuck?
Well, and that's where it kind of got a little out of hand, was stealing Mike Tyson's tiger, and all of a sudden, hey, look, there's a baby. Where did this baby come from?
Yeah.
Oh, from the stripper that you married last night. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of way too far-fetched things in that movie. But it is typical for one of those kind of comedies where each situation just piles on top of the one before, and things just get crazier and crazier and crazier.
It's far-fetched, but it's still far-fetched that you can relate to it in the fact that, like, oh yeah, man, I've done some fucking stupid shit like that. Not stupid things like, like being in a fight with somebody and like, oh man, I'm gonna punch you. But let's talk first. No, we're not talking like borderline stupid, ridiculous like that or anything like that. We're talking, I can still relate to this on a little bit. And another one that we were kind of talking about during the commercial was romance as well. Romance also falls into...
Well, especially like the romantic comedies.
Right. Romantic comedies are... to an Do we want to keep this as like relatable, or like this is just borderline stupid?
Well, they're all borderline stupid, because what's going to happen is you're going to have a girl and she's with a guy, but he's not quite the right guy for her. But then she meets this other guy who's goofy and lovable, and for some reason the most handsome man you've ever seen in the world.
Right.
And he spends a bunch of time trying to convince her how good he is. And then she leaves the other guy to go be with him, and then they live happily ever after. And that shit doesn't happen in real life.
Right.
The woman will 90% of the time just stay with the asshole she's with.
Right. And
you know what I mean? Let's look at The Wedding Singer. The realistic ending for The Wedding Singer would have been Drew Barrymore saying, I just want to be friends, to Adam Sandler, and then marrying what's-his-nuts and becoming Julia Gulia.
Julia Gulia, right.
Great movie name, by the way.
Let's not stay totally sexist here. Let's say guys and girls, because both of us we've all been in that side. And actually, somebody posted something interesting on my Facebook the other day. That was just a picture of, this guy with this girl, and it had said, like, if you want a nice person, when the nice person comes along, take them. If that's what you want, don't just be like, wow, you know what, like, you're so nice, you're such a great friend. No, if the nice guy is what you're looking for, fucking take the nice guy.
But that generally only happens in the movies.
In the movies, and it is true. It is a very kind of myself personally, I would almost say sexist, kind of stereotypical kind of thing for romance movies. And don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing on romance movies. I like romance movies. Um, from where I stand, I guess as a film collector, I can't stay too jaded or anything like that. But I mean, I do like romance movies. Um, but it is. I won't lie. They don't see the inside of my Blu-ray player a lot or anything like that. But on occasion they do. But yes, it is generally the way it turns out is the nice guy seems to have to fight tooth and nail to get the girl.
Mm-hmm.
And is that really a happy ending?
Well,
um,
so let's talk about like what I think is the like especially the late '90s, early 2000s. There was a run of these romantic comedies that were so stereotypical. It was almost as stereotypical as the hey, this movie has Jason Statham in it. He's going to be ex-military, something or other, right? And
Absolutely.
it was football quarterback gets the bet that he can make, you know, ugly art student girl popular.
Popular. Right.
So he gives her a makeover and she becomes hot and they hang out. And then he realizes that he's actually in love with her.
Right.
And that the bet doesn't matter anymore because this is for real. But then she finds out there was a bet and she gets all upset and decides to go back to her artsy ways.
Ugly, artsy ways.
And then at the end of the movie, he does some sort of grand gesture. And then she shows up at prom in the dress. And then they have that dance together. And then they live happily ever after. And
right. But again, the sexist concept comes about was like he didn't think she was hot until she was fucking made over. He didn't
take the opportunity to get to know her when she was ugly. And I mean, and it works both ways in real life, but in the movies it works that way. And I mean, and those movies, they always had, I don't know, I'm assuming Freddie Prinze Jr. or somebody in them, like, you know, but there was a bunch of them. I can't name you any, to be honest.
Like what? Like romance?
No, like ones where the popular guy takes the unpopular girl and makes her or whatever. But there was a bunch of them in that era. What I like to call the Dawson's Creek era of television.
Creek era, right?
And
usually,
and that was because it was all angsty teen dramatic bullshit. But yeah, it's basically, and to me, those movies set the dumbest example in the world.
Right.
Because it's essentially showing women that, hey, you could land the quarterback too if you just made yourself look pretty enough that he noticed you.
Right.
And then when he gets to know you,
and I think
he'll realize that you're a great person.
That's where like a lot of like low self-esteem for a lot of people come about. Oh, yeah, like I'll never get her. Look at me. I'm thin. I have glasses. Like, I live in this small shithole town. I
live in a van.
Yeah, or
down by the river. Anyway, but okay, and there was a movie about that. She's Out of My League.
Right, She's Out of My League, and romance movies clearly to me it's a stupid thing people do, is that they think that when they write these movies or they're in that movies that's how romance is depicted. I'm sorry, maybe at some due point in time, maybe we have experienced that small little romance movie kind of thing in our life. Usually, though, sometimes not ending without heartbreak. So really, it's not really romance, but we did get to at least experience that for a small, brief moment of time. Kinds of things like that. Other things getting back that are kind of, I'm going to depict this as a little bit of reality in a way, because I can't sit there and say that we haven't all done this at some due point in time. One that kind of popped into my head as we were kind of thinking about romance or whatever is Alien. Now, Alien isn't exactly reality, but some of the concept or romantic in any way, shape, or form. But one of the things that comes about in the original Alien that I was kind of thinking about was when we first see the alien and so forth, and bursts out of the guy's chest, and takes off, whatever. You know, they go in search of it, and one guy winds up getting killed by the alien, which is now huge. I mean, it's fully grown and whatever, but of course nobody knows this yet because it was only one guy got killed and nobody else saw what happened. And long story short, next guy, they discover that this alien is using the air vents to get around. This guy goes into the air vent looking for it. Because again, we don't know this thing is... We know this thing is fully grown. They don't.
Right.
So this guy kind of thinks, okay, I can go into the air vent. I'll trap it. Kill it. It's done. And we all can't sit there and say that we haven't been in that sort of predicament either at the same time. Oh,
that's true.
Well,
I always hate it when the baby alien's full grown when I get into the air vent.
Absolutely. I mean, the amount of air vents that I've been in and so forth. I'm not saying in so many words or less, say like going into an air vent and catching something or whatever, but I mean we've all been there. Like, well, just how about you just go into that cave and maybe kind of see what's in there, and we can, or oh, a thing that we're trying to catch just ran into there. How about you stick your hand in there and shit, man, I don't know what the hell I was. I'm not sticking my hand in that hole either. For the time, the scene is absolutely suspenseful. Chew your fingernails to the bone. And I'm not saying in a thing that like we've chased aliens into air vents or anything like that, but we've all made those decisions where we think that we can be. I guess what we're trying to say is like be the hero. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I can catch it. I'll catch it and I'll kill it. I can take care of that. I don't know what I'm dealing with, and I don't really know how it works or anything like that. But I can be the hero and I can catch it. Prime example, like I watched Third Die Hard yesterday, and there's a scene where Willis gives Samuel L. Jackson a gun, and he says like, I'll go this way, you go that way. If you find him, you don't be no hero. You come and get me. Mm-hmm. But of course, Samuel L. Jackson, being Samuel L. Jackson, finds the bad guy and doesn't go back and get Bruce Willis. He thinks, I've got this automatic weapon. I'm going to go in there, hold the guy hostage, and tell him to give me the code. And
But it should have worked because Samuel L. Jackson is a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, he wasn't he wasn't reaching full bad motherfucker concept at the time when Third Die Hard
came with Jurassic Park.
Same with Jurassic Park. Yeah, Velociraptors kind of.
He was a computer nerd that just chain smoked.
But I'll bet they were cool Velociraptors after they chowed down on him. Got some cool Sammy J into their tummies and satisfied their craving with hands.
My tummy had a rumbly that only hands would satisfy.
Right. So,
what's wrong with you? Well, I kill people and I eat hands. It's two things.
That's two things.
Such a stupid show. But I've watched it like 10 times.
I know, right? Because it's fucking hilarious.
Carl!
There's a dead guy in the living room.
If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, there's a thing on YouTube, a cartoon called Llamas with Hats.
Llamas with Hats.
It's really stupid, really disturbing, and doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But I also can't stop watching it because it's hilarious.
Does that fall into categories of stupid things people do? Not in movies. In reality.
Like watching something I know is going to be bad?
Yeah, like that we just clarified is totally fucking stupid, but I watch it anyway.
I mean, there's
for sheer vast entertainment purpose.
There's a lot of things that I do in life that are probably not good, that I know better, that are stupid, but I do them anyway.
Right.
Like the cigarettes I smoke, the 19 cups of coffee a day that I drink.
Right. We all have our choices in life, and the movies that we choose to watch. I mean, You know what? Sometimes there are things that I think that are stupid. If we could, like, example, if we go back and stick with Jason Statham, for example, one of my favorite things I like to watch is Transporter.
Great
I'm
movie.
kind of bored. You know, I don't really know what I want to watch. You know, I'll pop the Transporter in, action movie. You know, okay, so I do that, and then the very first thing I think of all the time is you're a professional transporter. You have spent your time creating rules that you have, clients, working up a clientele list. You're the worst fucking transporter ever. There are 4 of these fucking movies. Every single one of them you break your rules. So I don't know why you have fucking rules. Okay? Then you get yourself in stupid, fucked up situations.
Was he ex-military in that too?
Yeah, he is. Because he literally admits it in the first one.
Trying to think what other movies he's in.
Like The Expendables, where he was military.
Yeah.
Crank, he wasn't military. He was hitman, but he
Still,
kung fu.
some sort of specialized training or something.
Some sort of specialized training where he...
I'm going to recommend a movie. For anybody who's a fan of Jason Statham but wants to see him in a movie where he's not, like a hardcore gun-shooting, ex-military trained whatever, and you're thinking, wait a second, that movie doesn't exist. It does. And it's called Snatch, and it's a great movie.
Or The Bank Job, which is a true story.
Italian Job?
No, Bank Job.
Was he in the Italian Job? The remake of it with Mark Wahlberg?
I don't know. Somebody said he was. He could have been.
Was he part of Marky Mark's Funky Bunch in that movie?
I don't want to say I don't know, because... which I guess I just said
But
I don't know.
Snatch is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Snatch
It's
is.
good, like, dry British wit. Lots of different stories that somehow all intertwine towards the end. And Jason Statham just plays this wannabe gangster guy who has really no idea what he's doing. And it's a good movie. I think it was his first big acting
gig,
I think.
thing. Yeah, the transporter. Right away, once the film just veers into just, again, sheer stupidity kinds of things like that, I can't do it. I can't do it, and I can't watch it. I'm expecting this, like, I'm not going to say, like, great action movie or anything like that, but I'm not expecting this guy to be a fuck-up right from the goddamn start to the goddamn finish.
The worst thing about the Transporter 2 is, like, or not the Transporter 2, but the worst thing about the Transporter is, so all this shit starts happening. Like, someone shoots a fucking missile into your house.
Yeah.
You know what I would do to the girl? I'd be like, hey, you, get the fuck out of what's left of my crumbling, burning house.
Yeah.
Because obviously somebody wants you dead enough to shoot a missile at me. Get the fuck away.
Please, again, and that goes back
I
to
was going to rescue you and be a hero, but you know what? No, just go.
Just please leave. Please leave. And this kind of, we're gonna veer back into a little bit, I'm going to anyway, at least veer back into a little bit more ridiculous and kind of sticking with the alien concept. Unfortunately, I brought Prometheus as another kind of reference here for us to kind of get into, again, stupid people doing stupid things. Prometheus is prequel to the original Alien movie. This kind of ties in and shows how everything came about for the original Alien movie. Prometheus is awesome. Don't get me wrong. This is a freaking spectacular movie. But sticking with stupid things that people do. So these scientists and kind of all these other guys get to explore this desolate planet, and there's a point when this one scientist guy and this other guy, they come across this organic life form swimming in the water. Okay, you have no idea what this thing is. You're supposed to be a scientist. Quite frankly, from where I stand on the other side of the TV screen, it looks kind of semi-hostile. But no, you stick your hand out to want to pet it. And then you wonder what the fuck is happening when this thing has attached itself to your hand, goes up your arm, breaks your arm where you stand. I'm sorry. I am not going to feel sorry for you in any way. I'm not going to be sorry about your death. in the movie. I'm not going to miss you in any way, shape, or form. You clearly asked for that in your. And I'm sorry, again, I kind of look at it as bad writing, but if you're supposed to be a scientist, I'm sorry, like, where did you get your scientist license from? Where did you go to school? School of the Stupid Scientist?
The University of Touchy Touchy.
The University of Touchy Touchy. Did you attend the same, like, doctor school as Dr. Nick Riviera? Like, I'm serious.
Dr. Evil?
Dr. Evil? Yeah, like, did you just go to
Doctor
fucking...
Strange? Doctor who?
I don't know, Dr. Strange is pretty cool. Dr. Yeah.
Pepper?
Dr. Pepper. I had a Dr. Pepper last night. Actually, I hadn't had a Dr. Pepper in a long time. It was good.
Still wonder where he got his medical degree.
I do, actually. Cracker Jack box.
Ah,
That's what I always say.
University of Pepperology.
Possibly.
Anyway.
I'm sorry, the University of Pepperology kind of threw me off.
Yeah. Just so everyone's aware too, we normally do our podcasts on like a Friday night. We're doing this one quite early on a Sunday morning.
Right. So hence coffee.
Hence the coffee.
Hence the coffee. Yeah.
Hence the coffee.
Hence the coffee.
I'm trying to get this one in before church.
Oh shit, yeah, it's Sunday today, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Another one that I kind of fall into that kind of really bugs me, and I'm gonna go with two of these here. Let's also take a look at, like, say, Predator and the Jackal. Predator, first off, that again, awesome movie. Pure tension, great bloody gory action, great state-of-the-art special effects and everything like that. But the other one problem that I do have with this movie is when it comes down to the end of the film and this alien life form which has been hunting and eliminating your elite commando unit and has killed each one of these guys one by one, and is thing's huge. I mean, it's massive. It's bigger than Arnold Schwarzenegger, the whole 9 yards. At the end, this thing wants to fight Arnold Schwarzenegger. And even though this thing has, again, like I said, just eliminated your elite commando SWAT unit, you choose to fight it, which you end up getting your ass kicked. You still, maybe after thinking I can't beat this thing fist to fist, you finally use a little bit of whatever little brain power you have left and kill it a different way. But I'm sorry, what did you need to figure out that you were not going to defeat this thing? I don't care if you're Arnold Schwarzenegger or not. This thing's, a killing machine, killing alien.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's a killing machine.
He was the Terminator. That's true.
It's not the Tuma.
Well, actually, not the Tuma was not before.
Now
Now I'm talking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Again, it's early in the morning. Please cut me a little bit of slack. But this big, scary, alien-looking thing that is obviously way bigger than I am and could kill me anytime I friggin' wanted to, and I'm going to fight it hand to hand. I spent the whole time running from this thing. If this is how I knew I was going to end up, why didn't I just fucking do this in the first place? You know? The Jackal being another one. This is not a good film. I'm sorry to say. There's a lot of awesome talent in this film that was wasted for whatever reason. But one of the big action scenes in this movie, just to give you a little bit of a rundown, the Jackal, who is a assassin, he's been hired to obviously kill somebody, and first off, I don't understand the reason for this. He buys this massively huge Gatling gun, which is used for shooting down aircraft to kill somebody. I don't know why you need that, but apparently, according to him, he needed that. And he gets Jack Black's character to build him a rig to put this Gatling gun on. and I'm sorry, but when this film was made, we were pretty much at that due point in time that when some super assassin comes to you, wants you to build him something, and afterwards says, I want you to destroy the plans, I want you to get rid of all the scrap material, you have never heard of me, or anything like that. I'm sorry, what did you think was going to happen? Do you have to be as retarded as Jack Black to not realize that you're going to become this guy's next victim? Who do you think he's going to test this Gatling gun out on? Not just anybody. I'm pretty sure you're going to be the victim.
Not just anybody. One half of Tenacious D.
One half of Tenacious D, who apparently was not smart enough to realize that that's what was going to happen to him.
Though that scene was pretty good, though.
It is pretty freaking good to see his arm
despite the fact that the movie is not good.
It's a bad movie. May I not recommend The Jackal?
So
sorry, yeah.
Another bit of stereotypical. So I shouldn't even say it's stupid, but it's just a stereotypical thing. And just because I saw an advertisement for this earlier today on Facebook, because apparently it's been X number of years since the movie was released. You know how you always get those.
Yeah, somebody always posts like 30, 40 years ago today, that's when released.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it was one of those movies where, and it doesn't matter whether it was in the 90s with like Bring It On and Bring It On 2 and Bring It On Again and Bring It On, it's already been brought in and we can't bring it no more, and like however many they
Never
did.
Just Old.
And then or whether it was like Pitch Perfect or Pitch Perfect 2 or Pitch Perfect or like I don't know how many they did, but those movies where it's like the ragtag misfit squad of whatever going up against the elite 10 time in a row champion whatever, but we got to bring our A game and somehow it all comes together and we win the competition.
We win the competition, right.
Like you start watching that movie and you're like, well, they're going to win.
Yeah.
Turn it off now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
I'm just going to turn it off.
Like when that one cheerleader told Kirsten Dunst to bring it on. And Kirsten Dunst says she will bring it on. You knew she was going to bring it on.
Bring it on. Yeah.
And you knew she was going to win.
Yeah.
There's certain things like you turn on a movie and or something you know what's going to happen. Like and that kind of sums it up. You know that if you're going to watch a horror movie, people are going to make stupid decisions and everyone's going to die except for probably the one white girl who's going to get away. You watch a Jason Statham movie, you know he's some sort of ex-military guy who's trying to save his wife and he's going to win.
Right. Or
you watch a romantic comedy and you know that nice nerdy guy at the beginning is going to get the girl. And you watch some sort of Bring It On competition movie and you know that the underdog squad from the white suburban middle school or whatever is going to be the ones that end up winning the competition.
Any kind of movie is like that. Again, though, like I kind of said with the Transporter, I kind of just put these I kind of just somehow watch these things sometimes just for the sheer entertainment purpose. You know what?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just kind of feeling like some action. I'm kind of just feeling like seeing some guy get his ass kicked.
And I'm not saying that like these movies are stupid because they follow a predictable pattern. I'm just saying, and you watch them because they're entertaining, but there is a predictable pattern to 90% of movies out there.
Right. I guess I would just like to see certain things where, I guess you know what? I will use Jurassic Park for a prime example. I want to see something where the shit doesn't work out for the good guys. I want to see shit where, yeah, these guys are the main heroes. You know what? They're not dead, but you know what? You certainly didn't win either. You lost. You lost.
Which was sort of the case in Jurassic Park. Like,
right. You didn't kill the dinosaurs. You couldn't beat the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs pretty much took over the whole entire park. Now, your good guys aren't dead, but you certainly didn't win. And you just got off that island by, the hair on your ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want to see something like that where it's just like, we have a breaking even ground. To me, that's a little bit more realistic than, say, like these one-man army movies where, like, sure, man, the guy's all shot to shit, his face is all beaten in, I got no bullets left, I have no idea how I'm going to kill this last guy, but somehow I do. Steven Seagal movies are good for that. or Van Damme. Sorry, which are
So I mean, I guess the moral to this whole podcast would be movies. Sometimes movies are very predictable.
right.
Sometimes movies are very stupid. Sometimes the people in movies make very stupid decisions. But you know what? A lot of the times, the things that we do are pretty predictable and
Right.
pretty stupid.
Yeah.
And we all make stupid decisions. And it doesn't. And just because you're making a stupid decision does not mean that it is not entertaining.
No,
And that I think is one thing that you and I learned growing up together is that sometimes the most entertaining things come out of the most stupid ideas and stupid decisions.
stupidest ideas that we can think of, and that's, to me, I think that's prime point of what it is. Like as Mike said, like even though we know these movies are stupid, it might be stupid. Sure, there's going to be stupid decisions made. We watch it for the sheer entertainment purpose, and that's kind of the point of these films. Most of the things what we see here depicted on our little studio setup here and stuff like that. These films were all huge blockbusters in the time when they were made, when they came out. But look at all the stupid things we just pointed out in these movies, and there's a reason why we grew up with these things. And once again, as Mike pointed out, the stupid decisions that we end up making sometimes, still as long as we're still semi-careful, they turn out to be some of the funnest and the most memorable ideas, which is why we remember these movies the most. You can bash it all you want to, but I'm sure you remember, this stupid movie that you watched.
You remember the stupid movie because it was entertaining and it was fun. And you remember the stupid things that you did in your life because a lot of the time they were fun. Now I'm talking fun stupid. I'm not talking stupid. But
right,
like some of the things that we've done, and we've done quite a few, and those are some of,
oh my god,
like those are some of my favorite memories to look back on and laugh, are the dumb decisions that we made. And I mean, I can't really think of a really, really dumb thing that I've done like right off the bat right now, but because I don't think I've ever done anything quite so dumb or made quite such a stupid decision as one that you actually made not all that long ago, to be honest. And that was when you made the stupid mistake of telling me that your favorite movie is Mean Girls.
Right. Thank you.
Because I will never let you live that down, and I will bring it up at least once every podcast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is at least the third or fourth podcast in a row that's been brought up.
Because you talk about stupid life decisions. Mean Girls.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Movies.
What is wrong with Mean Girls?
I don't know. I've actually never seen it. And on that note,
thank you.
On that note, because I'm not 12 years old or a girl. So anyway, on that note, I think that we'll call her a morning.
I think we'll definitely call it a morning. We have definitely clarified at least a lot of the different aspects of borderline stupid, relatable stupid, and just things that are just fucking over the hill stupid in films. But again, no matter what it is in the movie, of which kind of stupid that it is, remember that these films are all just out here for sheer entertainment purpose, and a movie is not reality.
To be honest, I think sometimes that's all we're here for too.
That is, yeah.
That's all we're here on this earth for too, is just a little bit of entertainment.
A little bit of entertainment, which we hope we've entertained you for this morning.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll talk to everybody again next month.
Next month, right?
All right. Cool. Hey, do you remember that time you rode around the racetrack on the hood of the car?
I took her out, it was a Friday night. I woke alone to get the feeling right. We started making out and she took off my pants, but then I turned on the TV, and that's about the time she walked away from me. Nobody likes you when you're 23, and I still more amuse by TV shows. What the hell is ADD? My friends say I should act my age. What's my age again? What's my age again?